Oh my God.
Guten Abend. Der Alex ist noch. Jetzt ist er da, genau.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I have a big delay here on my internet, on my laptop. I don't know if you can hear me good. This third time I start this computer. So Ragnar, is it okay to you?
It's perfect. Yeah. So let's do a challenge because you're at home and let's compare our internet connection because I'm literally on the road. I'm not driving. I'm here at the back of my van. But let's see which connection is more stable. But I'm happy to be here. I couldn't make it on time back to my home. But, hybrid work, that's something what I'm preaching. So good to be here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, Ragnar. And you're on an event in Düsseldorf, as you just told me. And
Exactly, yeah.
I will also, what I would like to show you the community events, and we are starting very fast now because first of all, I don't know how long my computer will work still today. And the second part is we would like to tease some of the events just because we have a great prize today. First of all, from our guest, Céline Schillinger, we have her book, what we will talk about later. And the second great prize is that we have 2 VIP tickets for the Infinity in Austria at the end of the month. And so that's what I want to show you now, the community events news, so we can also have a look at the upcoming event in Austria. So Ragnar, let's see what we have today. Of course, we have our SharePoint social user group total dates where we put all together. But as usual, we accept some special events, as you can see here from Mr. Power Magic and his team, the Einfach M365 Power Week. We have next week, or no, it's the week after next week, from 20 to 24th June. Call of Speaker is already over, but let's have a look. It's for free, so you can attend for free in this remote show. It's always from Monday to Friday in the afternoon and the early evening. So just have a look on Einfach M365.de. And here we go. This is the community event, or the event where you can win prize 2 tickets. We have for you 2 VIP tickets. Ragnar, do you know how much a ticket costs?
Oh no, I need to find out. I thought it was around the no. Give me just 2 seconds because as a speaker and sponsor, I didn't pay for the tickets, so I need to look it up.
Yeah,
but I'm
me
really,
too.
really looking forward to go to Vienna. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an in-person event, and so it's from in the end of June. I will show you the QR code that you can attend this Infinity event. I think around $300 or $400 euros is 1 ticket. So we have 2 tickets for you, and you can also see Ragnar and me there with our topics. As you can see here.
It's €7.99, 800 euros, 1 ticket. The VIP ticket is 800 euros.
Oh my God! Wow. What a great price we have here for you. But the problem is you may also only do this raffle when you are already, or if you have time to come to Vienna in the end of June. So this is important. It's not remote, it's in person. So you have to come to Vienna. Yeah, I think there are better, more bad things what you can do than come to Vienna at the end of June, I think. So think about it. So we also have the German Powerthon 2022 in September. Call for speakers already running. So if you want to attend as a speaker, just see the Sessionize link. And of course, we have the European Cloud Summit that's coming up in September, already announced a long time ago. Hope to see you there. Ragnar, do you have a slot there in the European Cloud Summit?
Yeah. I have a slot, and also we are sponsoring. So really, really happy to meet everybody there.
Yeah, great. So that's all. So if you have an event that we also should show here or in our newsletter, I hope everybody got the newsletter. We got a new system, and I really hope this still works. Here, let's have a look. Hans Brender. So is it come to Vienna? Yeah, maybe Hans, you are also there.
I received it. Please check your spam and your junk box.
So how can you attend? So here, let's see.
So let's also check who is also here.
Hi, Ferdi. Nice to meet you. So let's see. I want to show. We are in our time is lacking. So let's see the QR codes. So let's see. I have it here. I have it here. Where is it? Where is it? So first of all, the Come to Vienna show. Let's see here. The bit.ly link win minus tickets 96. Please come and attend Vienna. So it's very important that you only enter the dates here for the raffle prize when you can attend in Vienna. It does not make sense to win the tickets when you cannot come to Vienna at the end of June. So this is the first thing that you can win. And we also talked about the other prize from Céline. So let's see here, the book Dare to Unlead. It's a great book. You will hear more about it in the next minutes. And this is also the possibility to win the book. We will send it to you. And I will show the links, as you know, in the bottom during the show. So I think that's it, Ragnar, isn't it?
Exactly. The book is also signed and it's going to be here. So you will love it. That's for sure.
So great. So let's see our guest for today, Céline. We will bring her on stage. Hello, Céline.
Hello.
Hey.
Bonsoir, Céline.
Guten Abend. I'm so.
Bonjour.
Wait. That's about the only thing I can remember about German.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Because you've got an Alsatian heritage.
Yeah, and I did. I'm very ashamed because I did learn German at school, but it was so long ago, and I never practiced. So, ich habe alles vergessen. I'm sorry.
Me too. I learned around 9 years of French.
9 years.
9 years. It's tu me casses les pieds. I think this is the only one I remember.
Please don't say the second sentence you know.
No, of course not.
I only know 3 words in French: égalité, liberté, fraternité. And that's what your book is about. Oh, that's wonderful. Céline,
Céline,
please.
Sorry, Ragnar. Please.
I just wanted to mention where we know each other. So we met, I don't know really when we had contact for the very first time, but it was around everything, you know. You are one of the leading persons and also change managers around Enterprise 2.0. That was the phrase many years ago. So we know each other from the Yammer times and the Enterprise 2.0 and working out loud. So that's something where we have a long common history.
Yeah,
and
we
finally,
do.
I'm happy that, you know, many things have changed. You have now your own business. So in the past, when I met you first, you were still living in France. Oh, then you moved from France to Canada. Then you worked at Sanofi as the head of quality at Sanofi in Canada. Then you moved back, I think, 4 years ago to France. I think you're living now in the Lyon area, and you have now your own business. You're the founder of We Need Social. So you're actually doing the same like you did in the past, Enterprise 2.0, and social networking, and also change management. And you are part of the Kotter group, one of the most famous change managers globally. And we invited you because you have a beautiful new book written and was just published. I know when it was published, like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
A month ago in the US and Canada, and it's soon coming to the rest of the world.
That's awesome. Yeah. So please tell me what was the most important trigger you which wanted you to write a book about change management, the new way of work? Was there a special occasion, a special situation where you said, oh, listen, that's something what I need to share with the world? This single experience or this single learning was my moment where I said, okay, I have to write a book about it.
So that's a great question. And before I do that, I would like to express my gratitude, Ragnar, to you in particular. I mean, to both of you for having me here on the show. I'm super happy. But you, Ragnar, you spoke about our long-time relationship, and indeed, I reached out to you when a long time ago I was at Sanofi, and I had a little bit by chance, I had triggered a movement, an employee movement, a grassroots movement to support a more modern, more diverse company, more diverse organization in order to better reflect the customer base we were serving. I thought it was important for the business. And an initiative I took at some point, end of 2010 to early 2011, coalesced or what is enabled by our possibility to connect in the company through a social media that was very new to me at that time. That was Yammer. And Yammer was not yet part of Microsoft. It had been pioneered a few months earlier by a division, another area in the business, but it had sort of expanded sort of underground. It was not very, public, but some people had sort of tried it. And when I launched this, or when I triggered this grassroots movement, we found out that Yammer, this thing here available to us, was an amazing opportunity to connect, exchange ideas, go fast, expand at scale. It was amazing. And it was so easy to use, and it enabled us to bypass the corporate gatekeepers, communication department, HR department, etc. It enabled us to create this network, like, right away. And it was absolutely fabulous to realize that. And I realized, like, super quickly, that there was enormous business value here in enabling different connections, different patterns of interaction, right? That I felt the transformative power of this internal social, of this tool. It was not just a tool. It was a transformative something, an enabler of a faster, better, more modern kind of business. And from that moment on, I didn't stop trying to push for and invite and trigger and nurture the use, a wider use of this social network. And I got a lot of resistance, lots of resistance. People considered it as waste of time, and it was before COVID, a long time before. And now we know that it's not such a waste of time. It's actually completely vital for organizations. And you already knew that. Yeah, Ragnar, you were already in that field. And so I reached out for help, for support, for visibility, for advice, etc. And you were always willing to help. And I'm really, honestly and sincerely, very, very grateful, because being a change agent in a large organization that is conservative and close to newness, and it's not a criticism against Sanofi. I think it happens in many, many, many large organizations, especially those who are in very regulated fields, and yet it is possible, as we have shown with this experience and with other experiences afterwards. It is possible to innovate even in that kind of super regulated, super constrained settings, in particular thanks to digital tools, which are more than tools.
That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, this movement, this moment where I got to, I mean, this was a real aha moment for me to stumble on Yammer and realize the power it had. It changed my life, like, seriously, and it changed the life of the other volunteers, the other activists who got involved in this movement. And from then on, I went on to deploy other types of initiatives, but always leveraging the same approaches. And it became my full-time job, and now it's my my living. You know, I make a living out of that. And I think it's we're just seeing the beginning of it. It's not straightforward though, and that's why I wrote this book, and that's why I'm coming back to your question. It's not like a switch, you know, like on off, like you use this tool or you don't, and if you use it, everything is perfect. No, that's not what I mean. It takes collective learning to know how to leverage these kind of tools for the better. And I see organizations trying to use those, you know, Teams, Yammer, in order to stay the same, rather than change.
Céline, let's add a little bit more of the historical context what you actually wanted to change at Sanofi,
Yeah.
because we're talking a lot about transformation and change, but there was a very concrete moment in your life where you said, listen, my former employee Sanofi didn't fulfill your expectation and your values around diversity.
Yes.
And then you went to your CEO, and then you finally started a global movement, because that's the most important thing. Because I want to talk now a little bit more about the global movement, and then also you can share how you use Yammer for it. Maybe, but sometimes maybe Yammer came a little bit later. But that's something what I would like to understand from you, how these learnings from being a grassroots rock star or Isabelle Leclerc always says, a fire starter, or somebody who really kicks things off. How does this diversity thing, when you went to your CEO and complain about it, how did you manage to write a book about liberty and fraternity and equality? Because I think this was the most important experience which was needed to write this book.
Yes, it
Or these
was.
core French values.
Yeah, it was a foundational moment in which I discovered all this. I mean, the enactment, the application of those three values, and I only thought of those three values later on when I started writing the book and putting all my material together. But really, when going back to this foundational moment in 2010, where I decided to take to empower myself. That's freedom. You know, you cannot. This sentence is not from me; it's from John Wenger, whom I quote in the book. You can never empower someone. You can only enable them. But empowerment comes from oneself. You self-empower. You realize and take ownership of your own power, and that's what I did in this moment, where I decided not to follow the rules, and instead to write directly to my CEO, not to complain, but to suggest, to invite, to propose. And I think this set the tone for the movement that got triggered really by chance, because this letter I sent to the CEO became viral and triggered this energy, this willingness of people to be involved into contributing. It was not about protesting, you know, being against, fighting, etc. It was about adding value um, in another way. There's already, you know, HR or whatever other department dealing with some topics, but we felt that we, as an employee community, could add value, and not just add value, but we could be the change ourselves, and leave a passive position where we expect change to come from the CEO or HR, and we complain when it doesn't come, you know. So we leave that posture and instead take an active posture of, okay, let's, you know, roll up our sleeves and do things together, and maybe change will come
Okay,
faster there.
so now we have now we have a bunch of aspects, and when we talk about now about equality and fraternity
Ye-
and liberty, are
yes.
these three aspects and values equal for you,
Mm,
or was it like the equality, the diversity part was the most important, and then
mm.
later the liberty aspect was bigger, or how did this value of the value change
Yes.
after
It's
this long journey when you really started this movement?
Yeah, it's a great question, Ragnar, and I think it started with liberty, with taking this freedom, authorizing myself
Mhm,
to, to break the rules a little bit, in a positive perspective, again, but but nothing would have happened if I had not met others who felt the same way about diversity, and so if we had not connected in a network
mhm.
enabled by Yammer. So
Fraternity. Mhm,
this network is what
mhm,
enables equality. It's by connecting in a network, we got rid of hierarchical divisions, of
yeah.
hierarchical differences, right? There were VPs and admins in the network, and they were co-activists. They were co-creators of solutions. They were no longer, here or there,
Mhm,
and talking up or talking down. And with this purpose we had in common, we created community. That is the fraternity, the feeling of um, sisterhood and brotherhood,
mhm.
in change. So I would say the three values come
That is the
together.
most beautiful thing I've ever heard about Yammer. It's
Oh,
also the same for other tools, but now we we talk about Yammer, but this is really really beautiful
no, thank you,
because this
Ragnar.
adds so much value to a technical tool and to yeah.
Exactly. And again, for me, it was not just a game changer; it was a life changer.
Mhm,
And people, I've read in some studies, and I quoted that in the book about. I read about the biographical effect of activism on
mhm.
people. Activism, being an activist, changes you. It changes the activist forever. Mm? Even if you're slightly involved, it doesn't matter whether you. And this
Because why?
activism,
It changed
it
something
be,
because why?
because you own, or because you take you how can I say, you become aware of your own agency. We all became aware
Mhm,
of our power, of our collective power, but also of our individual power, in the sense of, our innovation power, our creativity power, our speak up power, our I realized I could write a blog, I could, engage people, etc. Sorts of things I would never have done without this movement. I would have stayed on track, with following my job description, trying to achieve my targets, etc. That's what I was doing, living my life at work and then life outside of work, and not challenging the system, not questioning anything. And
mhm.
that's
So
something that Yammer, the use of internal social networks, and then afterwards external social networks too, accelerated.
let me challenge you and find out how this quote from Mark Twain
Mm.
resonates with you because I'm just coming here back from an event and I heard this quote in a keynote 1 hour ago. Mark Twain said there are only two moments in life which really matters. One, your birth, and the second is when you discover your own purpose.
Ah, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's great, and I'm sort of missing something about it, because
Tell me
when you
what are you
discover
missing?
purpose, I would say it's a starting point. It's another starting point.
Hmm.
Then the most important moment is what comes next. So
Hmm.
I'm excited about what comes next, and I'm not sure if I mean, for me, I discovered this purpose while working with my co-activists, and my purpose even evolved. You know, I got into this activism, corporate activism, thanks to the appeal to diversity and fairness and modernity, etc. But then I realized that my true calling, I mean, that diversity was an enabler for workplace change, workplace transformation. And I feel that I mean, my purpose is really to regain dignity at work.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. So,
yeah,
so you are not one of the person who says, okay, I'm my number one. I've got only one value, and the value is a diversity of feminism, and that's something what I'm carrying for the next 40 years. So you are. So it was just an enabler for
it was
other or more
it was an
deeper
entry gate, an entry point, and it remains a core element of my DNA. I try to bring in diversity. It is a core enabler of effectiveness. So I try to bring diversity in everything I do, and I see, I don't know, it opened up to a broader perspective or a broader picture, where I see the effect that bad work has on society, and bad leadership in particular. I feel that when people are constrained, limited, not respected, not seen, when there's a recognition problem, where people are, because of our industrial management systems, you know, inherited from the past, we try to sort of transform people into machines or into, you know, process, elements of process, right? Interchangeable elements of process. And I think people deeply resent that. They comply, they you know, okay, do it, but their humanity rebels deeply against that. And that's why we see, I mean, this is becoming a social trauma. And I think this division we see in society, this anger, this bitterness, you know, where people dehumanize the others, you know, Republicans,
Oh
Democrats,
yes, we see it
etc.
every day in the news, unfortunately. Yeah.
Exactly. I think it stems from, in large part, from the world of work. And we don't speak enough about that. We sometimes think, you know, it stems from politicians or from, you know, whatever economic but I think the world of work has a special responsibility in this social fragmentation.
And now let's put the pieces together at the end, because in Germany, with our constitution, the first law in our constitution says the human dignity is inviolable. So there is nothing more. You know, you cannot touch. It's not allowed to touch and destroy the human dignity. And that's something which seems to be for you very important after you went this whole journey from diversity and this all social movements to
yes. And you know what,
it-
I've seen it not just through this original movement, but through other movements that came afterwards. And in particular, I was very marked by, very impressed by what I've seen from from my shop floor colleagues in the quality improvement project, which brought me to the US. You said Canada in the beginning. It was actually Boston, not too far, and where I led a transformation movement, a cultural transformation movement within the industrial operations at Sanofi, and where again we made extensive use of Yammer in a transformational approach to culture, to creating a community of people. And I was extremely impressed by the potential, the amount of potential we, not just potential, competencies, creativity, passion, etc. we unleashed from everybody, including the shop floor people who were completely ignored or not considered until then. And it breaks my heart to see how much potential we lose in organizations by
Yeah.
considering those people as robots. And
And
they are,
that's interesting because you were head of innovation globally,
yes,
and when you're saying that tools like Yammer
mm,
really helps to increase innovation
yeah,
by giving all these main values which you're sharing in your book,
yeah,
that's the biggest
yeah,
statement I've ever heard about Yammer
mm, mm,
because it directly affects your KPIs in your role as or in your former role as head of
yeah.
innovation. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And provided we don't try to take a shortcut to performance or to innovation, and we say, "Oh, okay, we put Yammer on, and
Mm.
then people will exchange ideas, and that's it," and there we will get more innovation. This is wrong. This doesn't work. This shortcut
Okay.
doesn't
Now,
work. Yeah.
okay, that's now super interesting. So
Mm,
because especially with Alex, we talk a lot about adoption change
mm,
management, ACM, and sometimes we talk about hacks and shortcuts to
mhm.
faster
Yeah.
adoption and in enablement. But you really went the hardest and you went to the rockest, to
Mhm.
the most difficult way because you were starting a grassroots movement from one person or from only you up
Yeah.
to I don't know 10,000 people who are part of this global movement.
Yes, and
And this was the hardest
I
way.
I realized the limitations of grassroots, of
Uh-huh.
100% grassroots. And that's why in the quality movement, once I had learned from several experiences, I went dual operating model instead of purely grassroots. It's a
Hmm.
combination of the hierarchy, the traditional organization, and the network. And you can read about that in Cotter's books, for example, Accelerate, which I
Hmm.
find really
Yep,
interesting.
I've got it.
And when I talk about avoiding shortcuts, I'm talking about um, taking a more maybe indirect route, but which I find much more sustainable. This
Hmm.
indirect route consists in nurturing the social capital of an organization. That is connecting people, connecting the system to more of itself in all sorts of different settings, different possibilities, different opportunities, and etc. Because through volunteer networks, through social networks, through etc. It's about paying attention first to the human community
Hmm.
instead of paying attention first to the goal, because the
Yep.
goal will be better served by a human community that sees itself as a community, as a that sees each other as humans, as people who we consider, people we enjoy the company of, people we want to help, we want to collaborate with. It's creating this willingness, to this want to be together, that is
Yep.
critical.
Yep.
And
That
then
is that is
from then on, you can achieve any goal you want. But if you take this shortcut, oh, let's reach that goal,
yep.
and we'll deal with the human aspect on the way or later on, it fails.
That resonates extremely well. It was also part of the keynote, which was held by the former CEO of Handelsblatt, which is a very large newspaper here. I just heard because he said, "Don't do the mistake and put a number as a goal. That's the biggest mistake you can ever
Completely.
do. Set numbers as goals. It
I
has to be something more
Yeah,
purposeful with a vision where people are really,
yeah,
they really are,
yeah,
I don't know, floating into this purpose, but never put numbers as goals."
I
exactly.
need
And Alex.
no, just the last sentence, please, Celine.
Oh, and I would say, to complement that, not just a number, but also not just some fluffy, emotional feeling kind of stuff that would come from the board. It's critically important to have people co-create their intention together. Otherwise, they will not own it. They will not have authorship,
Mhm.
and therefore, it will be really complicated to engage people.
Yeah, so I need to say this because I'm sorry I was out most of the time because my laptop is not working so fine. I need to do, laugh. I can admit there, it's always important to co-work all the stuff, the change, so the people will be more willing to attend the change and to understand why what they're doing. So this is great, Céline. So I'm very sorry, but usually we end the show at 10:30. So it doesn't matter. We also have the community part at the end. So please stay here, Céline, and we can talk just more about it. It's no problem, but this is the official end. And before we end it, we need to have a look at the raffle prizes, because we have the special raffle prize from your book. Thank you very much for the book. And of course, for the VIP tickets for the Infinity in Austria. So hold on. This was not quite so easy to do because my laptop is so slow. I don't know why. So let's see who won the book. Please, here is the book winner, and a big applause for Jochen Stein. Jochen, you won the book. You are lucky, and the next one who is lucky will come to Vienna. So happy to see you, Anja.
Anja,
Vienna. Nice to meet you there. Then with a second person,
to see you there.
You can attend in Vienna in the end of June. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is usually the end of the show. Céline, thank you very much. Yeah, there's the book. Sandy, thank you very much for attending the official show. And now we will welcome you in the community part. So I invite everybody who's looking this show to come into the show, ask Céline some questions in person, or just give us more questions in the comments. Whatever you like, we can talk about what we want to talk about. But for now, this is the end. And we will see again for the official part of the show in 2 weeks. We will have Harald Steindl we'll have in 2 weeks, and talking about hybrid work and conferencing systems, especially for Microsoft Teams, of course. And maybe we'll see you again in 2 weeks. And so goodbye for now, and maybe stay here for the community part. Bye, Céline.
Yay. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Yeah, Céline, now you can open the wine bottle. Now it's much easier. The official part is over, and we would like to have everybody here in the show. Let's see.
I had a glass before, so now I'm just having my tea.
Okay,
thank
for
you.
the English,
that's nice. I really love the interface and all how you're moving stuff. It's super nice.
Yeah, I really love it, because as you might know, no, you don't know. We didn't talk about it. It's I didn't know Ragnar before we went on the show. It was just we met on social, and he asked me something about live streaming, and so we talked to each other, and we have never met before. The first time we met was last year in summer, I think.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So let's see. Now it's much easier to talk. Hi, Birgit.
Join us.
Come in the show and please attend. But I'm so sorry that I interrupted your interview. It was so nice to hear you. Also, when I was not on stage, I listened to everything what you said. But it was easier for me to go off the stage because it was much faster than this laptop. I have to throw it through the window. I need a change.
We want change.
Yes, we want change. No, I was very interested to hear what you said, especially the last part when you said co-working the goals, what you need. It's also one of my parts is to make, as Ragnar told you, ACM for Microsoft Teams in small and medium business companies. So we always do this part also with the champions to, we got Hans, to co-work the goals, to co-work the rules, where we have the governance part. So don't give them how it should work. So they need to work out on their own what do you want? How should it work? So this is really cool. Let's see. We have Hans on stage. Hi, Hans. Nice to meet you.
Hey, hello. Long time no see.
Ich habe jetzt überall noch doppelten Sound. Muss erst mal gucken, ob ich hier klarkomme. Sorry.
Hallo, Andreas. Hybrid work.
Hi. Yeah, of course. The hybrid work tour shirt. Yeah, and Anja, great to have you.
Yeah, wonderful to see you, Anja, soon in beautiful Vienna.
Yeah. So, Hans, what about your sound? Everything okay now?
Now it looks a little bit better. Yes.
Great. Do we see you in Vienna, Hans?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, that's
First,
great.
I have to go to India to conferences, small conferences, AMS conferences in Pune. But Pune is also like Berlin. That's a great city, and the other one is New Delhi. And then I come to Vienna. Yes.
That's great.
Nice.
So, Hans, tell me something about change for Microsoft OneDrive. How does this work?
Sometimes the people have... So the German ones are a little bit late. They always say it's a little bit different, and working together, it's a small thing. Have together working on one file, one document, one Excel sheet, one Word document or PowerPoint. It's a little bit different. And sometimes you have to say, hey, look, you can spare so much time, and therefore it's a good idea. But change management takes a little while. And most of the people I always handle with security. Security. You cannot change with outside, and all these stuff is not so good. Therefore, we have to look and learn again and again. And normally I am retiring, but I have no time for retiring because it's so much.
That's right,
many companies come and say, hey, give us a complete announcement, and my slide deck will be bigger and bigger. And sometimes, although the documents at Microsoft will not work so correctly, and I have to send it to say, hey, please correct that with GitHub and all this stuff. But now there's over 500 slides, and I have to change something. And the people say, yes, it's okay, we understand. But change management takes a little bit. And change management is not so easy. It's not a technical part. It's a philosophy. And the German one takes a little bit more.
Yeah.
Celine, just to introduce you to Hans, I don't know if you know him, but Hans is a very famous Mr. OneDrive called. So I think the whole world knows Hans. This is a very good man here, also with you in the show.
I'm honored, Hans.
Yes.
And that's why I'm asking. It's very technical part, but asking about change for OneDrive is very interesting for me, because I think, Hans, that the people will recognize very fast what is the difference to access their files. Maybe they know Dropbox and know any other tools, WeTransfer or something like that. And so I thought about it, that it might be easier to switch, but as you told, it's the security part what might be the problem.
It's a security part, and there are other things we have to change a little bit, because sometimes you have to know the philosophy about that, and the philosophy is the cloud is the leading system, and we don't have such a philosophy with Docs or Dropbox or all the other stuff. But anyway, it's the part of technique, and therefore we could look for that.
Yeah. So we welcome on stage Birgit. Birgit, nice to have you here. A warm welcome to Hamburg.
Thank you.
Nice to have you. And you already made signs to each other. So.
Did you say we welcome Birgit to our stage? That's nice. I'm a Birgit, but just a Birgit. Celine. Oh wow! Wow, wonderful what you're doing. Thank you for that. And I wow, very nice.
Thank you, Birgit.
Love your T-shirt. Love your T-shirt.
Yeah, I see that.
I think we need hearts here in our StreamYard application to show visual hearts. But you can also do beautiful manual, literally manual hearts, which is more nicer than the.
So thank you.
So Birgit, what do you do?
I'm just a partner manager right now for Dynamics 365 partners.
Okay.
But 17 years I worked as a pre-sales consultant for customers, and I'm also interested in Teams and Microsoft 365 and all that stuff, because I think it just makes sense when we all work together. We all need to work together. Dynamics 365 partners with Microsoft 365 partners and all that stuff. So, and also just sorry for that. Hans, hello. Meet you here.
That's lovely.
Give him a heart. Give him a
Yeah,
heart.
yeah.
A heart for Hans.
So my system today is a little bit tricky, having a background and now the
No, it's
system
because of
crashing. It's like you, Alex.
Yeah.
it's about me. It's because of me.
No.
Always
It's
mine.
lagging.
Birgit, when I ask you a question, which word is the most important for you? What would you answer? Liberty, fraternity, or equality?
Wow. Okay. Could you please?
Without thinking.
Don't know.
You don't have to choose. Huh?
I don't want to choose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, Céline. Thank you. I love her. I know she's on my this side. No, I don't want to choose because I don't want to pick.
Yeah. Yeah, they go together, in my opinion. If you just take liberty, freedom, you end up in individual freedom, and everybody does what they want, and that's my freedom. I want to be free. That's libertarianism. And it's excessive, and it's not useful for the community. So you need equality as well, but then how do you keep the network together? How do you make sure that there's a cohesive whole? And I feel that fraternity is what enables this wholeness, this togetherness to stick and to produce something really valuable.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Totally agree, but Ragnar, what's behind your question? It's a typical German thing. I'm a typical German, so do we need to pick something we agree for, or
I just
don't
wanted
know.
to start a conversation.
Great.
So I have one more question. One more question, Céline, please. I have. You talked about introducing Jammer to the company, this big company, and you engaged so much purpose in the people and so many things. What happened after introducing this solution? And what I'm interested in, the question is, how does the C-level thought about this engagement? Because I think this is a cultural part. Do they want to enable this purpose, and do they want? They cannot control what purpose it is. So what happens then? What about the time? What about the processes? The things change. So is it possible for such a big company with typical culture to do this change so easy? I think there must be a big resistance from the leadership.
There is a huge resistance, and in the book I tell about the Yammer story at Sanofi a few times, because as I said earlier, it was pioneered in around 2008. Then with my movement, we really leveraged it and created the first activist community internally. So that was around 2010, 2011. And then and then we promoted it extensively, and then I moved to so I created another role afterwards that was more focused externally, and then came back to an internal culture change project in 2014. Decided to heavily use Yammer as the backbone of our engagement project across 10,000 people worldwide. So that was 2014, and then the company was sort of wondering whether they should adopt Yammer officially and expand it to more people or not. And I remember GSK, our main competitor, had taken the decision at that time to switch to Yammer. So, and we were exchanging.
Thanks to Leslie.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks to Leslie.
Friend.
Yeah. And then, and it was crazy to see first the Sanofi leaders absolutely not interested in engaging in the network themselves, and two, IT leading these studies, reflection in purely technical groups without any consideration for users. Absolutely no engagement of users. And so we tried, to connect, to say, hey, we're using Yammer. It's we'd love to give our opinion and to propose, business cases that will help you in your as you make choices, And they said no. And then at some point, they even decided to actually switch off Yammer and replace it with SharePoint. That was crazy. So it was so what I did at that moment, I can't remember the date, and it's probably one of those moments I reached out to Ragnar for help.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe 2000.
I could find it out, but I don't store my emails from former employers.
I think it was 2015 or something, or 16.
Wow, long ago.
So 2015, 16 or something. So
but how did it end? And now I'm very curious. How did it end? Could we?
So how did it end?
Did we really save Yammer, or was it just an attempt to save it?
I actually mobilized all the community managers. We wrote together a white paper, or a letter to the CEO. It was not the same CEO as before. It was a new CEO. We sent a public letter to the CEO, and I called his attaché and said to her, on that date, so whatever, on Wednesday at noon, we will publish this open letter to the CEO on every community on Yammer, and advocating for the CEO to stop this stupid project to actually turn off Yammer. And they backed off. So it worked. They actually backed off from the project of switching off Yammer, and created more committees, more experts. So it took more time, basically, during which we could continue. It was a status quo, right? Status quo kind of stuff. Still, very few leaders got involved, but my manager, the chief quality officer, understood the value and got heavily involved. So that's why our quality movement was, it's one of the reasons why this quality movement was so successful. And then I left in 2018. Then COVID hit in 2020, and then they went full blown to Yammer. It took COVID for them to realize and to enact something they could have enacted 10 years before. And they put so much difficulties in front of us. But the sad thing, I would say, in their switch to Yammer is that they switched, I would say, not in a right way. They switched to Yammer as leveraging Yammer as a loudspeaker, as a push platform, which it should not be. It should be this connectedness, this enabler for this community enabler, not yet another loudspeaker for leaders to speak to their people.
You are taking the fraternity aspect out of it.
Yes,
Fraternity.
exactly. Completely. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, Alex.
I have one more question. Do you have any experience in introducing or adopting Jammer in smaller companies?
Interestingly,
the question. I'm sorry. The question, what I want to hear, or what the main question is, which size does a company need? How many people does a company need to interact with Jammer with sense?
I worked with, as a consultant, I worked with a 300 people company that had Microsoft 365, and they had the possibility, they had Yammer included in their package, and they decided not to use it. And I advocated for them to do it, but instead, but they did not see the need. And it's a shame for me. It was really a missed opportunity. So they relied on Teams channels, groups, but it's really not the same as Yammer. It's definitely not the same. And so, yeah, Hans?
I want to say it depends also on the product the company will sell. If you have a product that you have an old stuff and you have so many external, then it makes all the sense for a smaller company. But if you have always announcements and so on for all the people external, then it's a good idea to have it with Yammer. That's my thing.
Possibly, yes. That's interesting. Very interesting.
Okay, so when I have a look on the watch, we'll see we will enter at 10 o'clock. So this will be the end of the community part today. I'm very excited to have so many women on stage. So as you might know in the past, this is a little problem we have. We love diversity. So this is great to have you here, Birgit and Céline, of course. Thank you. So I have to say thank you once more, also in the name of Ragnar, to have you here.
It was a real pleasure.
And Birgit, that you attended this show, and we had a small talk. This was really great. Céline, many luck for the future for you.
Thank you, Alex.
And of course, Hans and Birgit, we will see in Vienna or in 2 weeks in the show or wherever we always meet. That's great to have you. Okay, so
awesome. It was great to be there.
Thank you very much. Have a good drive home.
Thank you.
And so let's see in 2 weeks once more. And Céline, all the best to you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Cheers.
And Céline, I will contact you.
Please do it.
Of course.
That's awesome.
Great.
So,
thank you.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you, Ragnar.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.